missionaries, I will go. I see the need of people crying. My answer is I will go. I go to share the message of love. I go to share the blessed hope. But if I get discouraged, I call to Jesus' help, because I have decided I will go.
Being the church in Fiji, feeding the needy in Kansas City, and mission in Ottawa, Canada. All this and much more coming up next. Hello and welcome to Mission 360. I'm Gary Krause. Today's program is coming to you from Ottawa, the capital of Canada. And behind me, you can see Parliament House. And you may say, well, that looks very British. Well, of course, Canada has a very strong British heritage. And in fact, in 1857, Queen Victoria named Ottawa as the capital of Canada. Well, on today's program, we'll be looking more at mission here in this city. We'll be traveling to various parts of the world as well. But first up, let's travel to Fiji, which is a lot warmer than here.
This is Pacific Reach. All members are encouraged to build close relationship with their neighbors and their friends, lead them to know Jesus, and plant new churches where people live.
Early this year, we started a new church plant at Wairamidya. Church members started visiting homes around the new church plant.
My name is Simeli Ratkolo and I'm an engineer.
My name is Josephine Ratkolo and I am a school teacher. I remember one time he was telling me about having a church plant at our house. I was thinking of all the responsibilities that will come with it. I prayed a lot about it and I said, okay, Simeli, we can have a church plant. We discovered that we had non-attending church members near our place. We invited them to come and be part of our church plant, and they were willing to come. So we started our church plant 8 months ago.
The chief method of evangelism we are employing in our church plant is to visit our neighbors and community in their homes.
Pastor told me that God created my 2 feet to take the word of God to my community. We visited all the houses around here by walking. We walked so many miles to visit people in our community.
They received me, I went inside, I shared the Bible with them, I pray with them, and I ask the Lord to bless them. And the door is always open for me. And I'm telling my wife, we are building this relationship.
I feel that I have so much a part to play in their life, in a way that I have influenced them through God's love and providence.
To have a church plant in your homes, it brings us very close with other church members. We have that close bonding Now we become one family. I feel that the Lord has a call for me to win souls to His kingdom. A sinner like myself, they will also may have a chance if you go out to their homes and share the good news to them, that they will also be part of the kingdom.
My guest is Pastor Daniel Buchan, who cares for 3 churches in the Ottawa area. Thank you for joining us today, Pastor Daniel. Now, you're originally from Mauritius. The weather's slightly different here.
Much different, yes. The lowest we go is 12 degrees Celsius. It goes to minus 42 here.
Wow.
The highest will be about 33, 34. It may go to 39 and 40 sometimes in the sun over here, but it's good to be here too.
Yes. Now, Pastor Daniel, you have served as a missionary in Africa. Tell me briefly about that.
Okay, I worked for quite a few years in West Africa. I was secretary of the former Sahel Union, which was made up of 11 countries, mostly French-speaking countries. We lived half of the time in Senegal, but the offices were moved to Togo, so we lived half of the time in Togo too. And it's a huge territory, lots of travel and long distances, and in some places the weather is very challenging, very cold at night, like Mali and Niger, where you can get 52 Celsius during daytime, and sometimes some minus if you walk in the desert during the evening.
Yes. So you're used to living in extreme climates.
I'm used to that, yeah, I'm used to that.
Now, Pastor, when we look at a city like Ottawa here in Canada, give our viewers some sort of idea of the mission challenge, the numbers.
Okay, Ottawa last year passed the 1 million mark of population.
Yes.
But Ottawa, just like the big cities of city of Toronto, now for government administrative reasons have engulfed the little cities around. So now it's let's say above 1 million of population, and we have about 11 Adventist churches in the region of Ottawa. Hawkesbury is 100 kilometers out. It's not really in the Ottawa region, but I'm pastoring a couple of groups in Ottawa region and one over here in Hawkesbury.
Right, so you've got a million people in the Ottawa area, but how many Adventists?
I don't have the exact figure, but my just quick estimation is I should be just above 2,000 members.
2,000 members. Yes. That is a mission challenge.
That is a big mission challenge, yes, because it's a big city, it's diverse, it's a modern city, and it's not the easiest place to talk to people about religious things and questions.
So tell me about the Burmese group that you're working with.
Okay, the Burmese group came here because of the conditions in northeastern India and Myanmar. They have been living a long time of war, civil war and fighting, and the conditions there were terrible. I have some members who, to survive, they had to work for the revolutionary groups, and sometimes that meant transporting drugs from one side and crossing the mountains to the other side. So most of all of our members who came here have been refugees at first. They have settled down now. Some of them are Canadian citizens, which is a good thing, and we have quite a few ethnic groups there. They speak 4 different languages mainly, and but the good thing is that they work well together. And
so how many do you have in the group?
In our group right now we have about 25.
Right. 25. And you have plans for the future to try to expand that group?
Yeah, we have plans to expand. Because of the evangelistic context we are in, and because our experience has shown that it's easier to work with people from your own community.
Yes.
We are working on a project to begin next year as soon as we can, because I don't speak the languages, the dialects. So we are planning to find a volunteer who would come, or a pastor who would be volunteer to come for at least 6 to 8 months. And double objective for that. The first thing would be to consolidate what we have as church members, because they were not well-educated members. They were not deeply grounded in the faith, and they themselves are requesting that we help them to get deeper roots and can confirm and affirm themselves in their beliefs and doctrines. And at the same time, that volunteer will be working with them to do some evangelism and meeting, because we do have some other Burmese people in the city of Ottawa who are not Adventists, and we need to reach them. The good thing is that they work well together. Socially, they are friends. When the Baptists and Evangelicals have their social gathering, they invite the Adventists to come. When the Adventists have, they invite the Baptists, and they come, and that's a good thing. So there is some space there to work and to do evangelism with the people. It's not easy, but there is the possibility.
Wonderful. Well, we'll pray for the plans for the future for that group.
Okay, thank you.
Pastor Daniel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, it was my pleasure to be with you.
And friends, we don't often think of places like Canada as being the mission field, but what challenges are being faced here to reach the majority population, and also special groups like the Burmese people. Pray for their plans to grow, to expand, to consolidate in the faith. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Ottawa. Next up, we traveled to Kansas City in the United States to learn about food distribution for the needy.
Hello and welcome back to Mission 360. Today we have an interesting interview with a unique mission going on in Kansas City, Kansas, in the middle of the United States. Now, today I have with us Pastor Tamalea'a from the church there, and he is in charge of one of the main ministries that the church does. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do there at New Haven Church.
Yep. Hi, everybody. My name is Pastor Mark Tamalea'a, and I am the youth pastor, one of the associates at the New Haven Church. And one of my areas of responsibility, one of my first loves, is community service, which involves our food pantry.
Excellent. Now, what goes into your day to day? You guys meet on Tuesdays to do this. What happens on any given Tuesday?
On Tuesdays is our main day that we're able to distribute food through our mobile food pantry. And on Tuesdays, we just have a lot of volunteers, especially during the height of the pandemic. We probably had anywhere from 80 to just over 100 volunteers to come out and help us distribute all of the food. So it's been a busy process. It's been a busy ministry, especially during the pandemic. We lost the majority of our volunteer base because a lot of our volunteers were retirees, and so they happened to be more of the at-risk group. And so when they had to stay at home and the stay-at-home orders came, we had to do a little bit of recruiting, and we were just, I think it was an opportunity that God opened up, and we had young people coming in because they were online, our youth, our young adults, and even other volunteers that were not so much at risk from other areas of the community.
That's awesome. So not only are you guys reaching out to the community that is at risk for food and maybe food insecure, but also in your volunteer base, you're being able to witness and reach out to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, just this Tuesday of this week, we had this conversation with our team. I feel very confident in saying that, 80% of our volunteer base that come in and serve every week are not only non-Adventists, they're not, associated with us. They're not associated directly with our church other than through the food pantry. So they come in and it's been a full-on community effort. Other people from other religions and other faiths and denominations, and they just come in and we just kind of work together in serving this community, trying to fulfill the food insecurity in this community.
That's exciting. That's a really cool opportunity. Well, paint a picture for me. Tell me a little bit about the numbers. The stories are incredible and motivating, but the numbers help provide a picture of how big this operation is and the impact that you guys are having. So how many people do you reach out in any given week? How many people, families have you guys reached and given food and groceries to throughout the year? And yeah, what's some of those numbers?
Yeah, absolutely. So prior to the pandemic, we probably were serving about 200 to 300 folks every week in our mobile food pantry. And when the pandemic hit, and the food insecurity rose, folks were losing their jobs, folks were stuck at home, and those numbers just exploded. And we were serving 2,000, 3,000, 4,500 on a weekly basis. And so we've seen it, as high as 4,500. But it's been one of those phenomenal miracles, because God, not only allowed us to be able to serve these people, but bringing the volunteers in to help us serve these people. And they were coming from all over the place. So I would say now that we're in 2021, here coming towards the end of 2021, everything has kind of settled down in terms of the consistent numbers we're serving right now is about 1,200 to 1,400 every week. Again, not as much as what we were doing at the peak of the pandemic, but certainly, still quite a bit more than what we were doing prior to the pandemic. So it's been a rewarding experience for all of us. It's been a learning experience, but God continues to bless and bring the right people to help us serve this community. The last thing, or at least one thing I'll say, in 2020, our final numbers was we served 1.9 million pounds of food to the community. Even though our numbers are lower in terms of the people we are serving this year in 2021, even as I speak right now, towards the end of 2021, in the month of November now, we're already at 1.7 million pounds. So we're anticipating finishing out the year just over 2 million pounds of food served. And I think that's a testament to, I think it's a reflection to our volunteers, to the goodness of God, and all of our members and people in the community who come together, with this sole purpose to serve our community.
That's amazing. Those are such astounding numbers. 2 million pounds of food for free, essentially, to people who are in great need for it. What would you say quickly in just a couple sentences or paragraph to people who are out there listening who may want to involve some sort of similar ministry in their own church?
Yeah, I think that it's one of those things. One of the interesting lessons that we learned in this pandemic was somebody 10 years ago started this ministry in a little closet. And it started with a couple bags of, cans of food, some things here and there. And God had put it on someone's heart, and they had taken that challenge to serve the community at that time, 10 years ago. And so, sorry about that. And so here we are now, 10 years later. I would say that, we wouldn't be here where we are without the people that stepped up. And so no matter where you are in your community outreach, someone has to start it. And you may not even be alive 10 years from now to see where it can go, but know that you are laying a foundation that those that come after you can build on to bring honor and glory to God and to serve our community.
It's so true. Being faithful in those small things at the beginning, when you can't even see the end goal, but trusting that something big is going to come of that. It's a motivating story. Pastor Mark, thank you so much for telling it to us and for your continued work there in Kansas City, Kansas. Viewers at home, I hope you're motivated. I know there's plenty of ideas for mission stories, and I hope you can take something from this one. Now, back to you, Gary.
Welcome back to Ottawa, and next up, a Pray Your Way Around the Cities of the World prayer map.
"88 countries is a lot, right? Tokyo alone is so large that there are 88 countries whose total population combined would still be smaller than the Tokyo metro area. Over time, the city has grown, spread, and merged with smaller surrounding cities, resulting in a massive urban area called an agglomeration. While Tokyo has grown to such an amazing size, the number of Christian believers in the city has remained small. Only around 1% of the people in Japan are Christians. While Tokyo is the world's largest city, it's still just one of many very large cities. Out of the hundreds of agglomerations worldwide, 37 of them have more than 10 million residents. Over 100 years ago, Ellen White was urging the Seventh-day Adventist Church to reach the large cities of the world. "Oh, that we might see the needs of these cities as God sees them," she wrote, adding that the work in the cities is the essential work for this time. She prompted, "Work the cities without delay, for time is short." But in 1900, around that very time, there were only 15 cities on Earth that had more than 1 million residents. Today, that number has increased to almost 600. Many of these cities only have 1 or 2 Adventist churches, and some still have no Adventist presence at all. How can we make a difference? Through the mission offerings, Adventists around the world contribute to critical outreach in the cities. Perhaps at some point in your life you dreamed of becoming a missionary, but somehow it never quite worked out. If that's you, or if you have a heart for those who don't know Jesus, consider how faithful daily prayers for unreached cities could be a very real mission that could open doors and hearts even half a world away. Sharon has answered this call to prayer wholeheartedly. The Mission to the Cities prayer map arranges these cities on lines to look like a subway map, and Sharon uses it as a guide to pray for one city each day. She's been praying for more than a year, and she has already checkmarked more than 200 of these 580 large cities. She prays for the residents of the cities, for their health, their marriages, their leaders, and their faith. God hears her daily prayers, and Sharon believes that He is answering in quiet but amazing ways. She looks forward to hearing the stories one day in heaven. Adventist schools are also praying for the cities. At Hillside Christian School, a one-room school in Wisconsin, the students began by praying for the large cities in North America. Each day they prayed for a different city. One student would pray for the homeless in the city. Another prayed for families. As a team, they took the needs of these cities to God in prayer, and then checkmarked each city on the map. Churches and schools, adults, children, and academy students are praying for the cities. We believe that as we gather in spirit, praying in unity for the cities, God will be with us and hear our prayers. As you pray for each city, please ask God to bless the work of missionaries and global mission pioneers there. Prayer maps are available for download on the Mission to the Cities website. You can print them for yourself, your school, your prayer group, or your church. Please join other prayer missionaries and pray your way around the world.
how sweet is a carol. La 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 la
Well, thank you so much for joining us on today's program, coming to you from Ottawa. Ottawa reportedly is the 7th coldest capital in the world, and on a day like this, I believe it. I hope that you've been inspired and challenged by what you've seen and heard today. Mission is going forward around the world. Churches are being planted, centers of influence are being established, the good news of Jesus is being shared. And I want to thank you for your continuing prayers and financial support for Adventist Mission. Your mission offerings, your donations to Global Mission, they do make a difference. Well, for Adventist Mission, I'm Gary Krause, and I hope that you can join me next time right here on Mission 360.
Share the message of love. I go to share the blessed hope. But if I get discouraged, I call to Jesus' help, because I have decided